it's Becky with Life Keys Energy. For tonight's restorative yoga flow, you will need at least 2 throw-size blankets, potentially 3. And you will also need a chair or a wall or a door or something that you can use at the end to do legs up the wall with. So we're going to go ahead and get started, coming into Sukhasana, heels in line with the groin. Starting to rock side to side, feeling the sit bones connect to the earth beneath you. Coming into just a little bit of stillness here. Bringing the shoulders up to the ears, waterfall the shoulder blades down the back. And start to imagine there's a string on the top of your head pulling you just a little bit taller. Go ahead and close the eyes if that feels safe. And if that doesn't feel safe, lower the gaze down to the ground. Taking the next few breaths, start to notice how it feels to breathe tonight. Notice where that air wants to go. Notice where it doesn't want to go. And on your next inhale, start to breathe in through the nose for a 5 count. Pause that full for a 3 count. And exhale out through the mouth like you're breathing through a straw for a 7 count. Inhale 5. Hold 3. Exhale 7. Inhale 5. Hold 3. Exhale 7. Three more, just like that. After your last 5-3-7 breath, come back to deep yogic breathing. And bringing those hands to heart center, press the thumbs into the sternum and take just a moment to set a sankalpa or an intent for tonight's practice. Exhale, release the hands to the knees, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale the ear to one shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, ear to opposite shoulder. A few more, let your breath start to carry this motion. When the ear finds one shoulder, go ahead and leave it there. Bring that same arm up and over, adding just a little bit of pressure. And walk the opposite hand away from the body. Taking some deep breaths here. Inhale, lift up, switching sides. Bringing the chin to the chest, dropping the ear to the opposite shoulder. Bring that same arm up and over. And walk the opposite hand away from the body, breathing in here. Inhale, lift up. Bringing the hands to the knees. We're going to exhale the heart space forward. Inhale, start to make some great big soupy circles, warming up the spine. And then when you come to the back of a soupy circle, switch directions. Slowly start to tighten up the circles, coming back to center. So for tonight's flow, we're going to start to get super twisty here and start to relieve some of the tension in our low back. So our first pose today is the beauty queen. So we're going to cross the arm across the midline, find the opposite knee. You'll do your best beauty queen pose. And then draw the shoulder down towards your opposite knee as the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. We're only going to hold this for about a minute on each side, but allow for that lengthening, taking some deep breaths here. Inhale, lift up. We're going to switch sides. Reach for the opposite knee. Do your best beauty queen pose. And then draw the shoulder down towards the free knee as the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. So as you guys know by now, most of these classes are written either right after morning meditation or sometimes they're inspired during morning meditation. And earlier this week, I was looking at things on perspectives because it seems like we all think we have the right perspective, but we're so afraid to see life from somebody else's perspective. Inhale, lift up. So when I was looking for quotes, one of the quotes I found was from Brian McKnight, and it says, "I just want people to take a step back, take a deep breath, and actually look at something with a different perspective." But most people will never do that. So as we move through tonight's practice, what perspectives are open to you? We're going to go ahead and grab our blankets, at least one, and fold it in half. Bringing the blanket onto your mat, we're going to add a little bit of padding for our knees here. We'll come into tabletop, bringing those knees about hips distance apart. Hands right underneath the shoulders. Inhale your favorite arm up towards the sky. And exhale, thread that arm through. Place the shoulder and temple onto the ground. The hand that's hanging out underneath your shoulder, creepy crawl it to the top of the mat. And pull those hips back just a little bit. Taking some deep breaths here, maybe closing the eyes. Noticing how the body is feeling tonight. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Bring the hand back underneath your shoulder and push yourself back up into tabletop. We're going to go ahead and come into that pose on the opposite side. Inhale the opposite arm up towards the sky. Exhale, thread that arm through. Place the shoulder and the temple onto the ground. And then creepy crawl your hand to the top of the mat. Thread the needle. Notice how this side feels different from the other. Inhale, bring the hand back underneath your shoulder. Push yourself back up into tabletop. Walking those hips back to meet the heels. We're going to grab both of our blankets now and roll them together to make a bolster. So I like to start at the fringe and roll the fringe in. But of course, that's totally Yogi's choice. So after you have rolled your blankets together and made a bolster about that size, you'll bring it lengthwise down the mat. From here, we're gonna come onto our hips, kind of. Your legs, you have a choice. It doesn't really matter what you're gonna do with your legs here. They can be stacked, they can be staggered. You can even straighten them if that's what feels best. We'll lift up through the spine, twist, and place the belly down onto our blanket. Our cheek will go to whichever side feels most comfortable. And then take a moment here and adjust the legs. Make sure the choice you made for your legs is where you want them. And as we're laying here, see if you can draw that breath down into the low back. Really letting that breath expand the lumbar area on the inhale. And release on the exhale. So as I sat thinking about perspective and taking a step back and seeing things from other perspectives, I opened up a book I'm slowly making my way through. Eckhart's stuff is not an easy read. But this quote stuck out at me and I thought I'd share it. It says, be willing to be a beginner every single morning. I sat with that for a better part of 24 hours. What does it look like to being willing to being a beginner? How does that change your energy? How does that change your heart space? How does that change your mind space? I'll bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Push ourselves up. We'll come into this reclined spinal twist on the opposite side. So bringing the opposite hip up to your bolster, arranging the legs in whichever position feels best for you. Lifting up through the spine, twist over the bolster, and turn your cheek to whichever side feels best. Take a moment here, make sure you made the right choice for your legs. Inhale, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Push yourself back up to a seated position. We're going to go ahead and take the blankets off the mat. We're going to come laying flat on the back. So the next pose we're going to explore is Banana Asana. So extending both legs down the mat and bringing the arms up and over the head. Take a moment here, take up as much room as you physically can from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. We're going to bring the hips over to the left wide edge of the mat. And then walk the feet over to the right corner, bringing the left foot on top. Bringing the arms over to the right corner. Bring that left hand on top. Breathe in here, Banana Asana. Both shoulders and both hips are still connected to the earth. Taking a few more deep breaths here. We're going to bring the torso back to center. Bring the legs back to center. And bring the hips back to center. Take a moment here, mush the hips, mush, mush, mush. We're going to come into Banana Asana on the opposite side, bringing the hips out to the right wide edge of the mat. Bringing the feet over to the left corner with the right leg on top. And bringing the arms into the left corner with the right arm on top. Breathing in here. And inhale, bring the torso and arms back to center. Bring the legs back to center. And bring the hips back to center. Take a moment here and mush those hips. Mush, mush, mush. We're going to bend the knees, plant the soles of the feet onto the ground. Release the arms down by the side body. So the next 3 moves are all very, very similar. So we'll start by bringing the right ankle to the left thigh, flexing that right foot to protect the knee, and energetically drive the right knee behind, away from the body. Inhale, lift the legs up and wrap the arms around that bottom thigh. Securing the sacrum, both hips onto the mat. Anchor the shoulder blades onto the mat. And then hug the ankle to the chest, breathing in here. So as I sat with the idea of creating a new perspective and the idea of having a beginner's mind, I looked up another quote that hangs on my fridge, and it says, "Remember, despite how open, peaceful, and loving you attempt to be, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves." Matt Kahn. I think that it is of great value when we start to look at other perspectives, to understand everybody has their perspective because of the lives they've lived. And it's only when we can open our hearts and start to see things from someone else's point of view that we really can truly find that contentment. And it all starts with knowing ourselves. So how deep are you willing to meet yourself today? Because it's only as deep as you'll go can you meet someone else. For me, that's a pretty poignant thought. And from this reclined 4 pose, we're going to lower the left foot back down to the ground. You're going to roll on the left pinky edge of the foot and plant the sole of the right foot onto the floor. Perhaps you reach down with your left hand and adjust your right foot a little closer to your body. Perhaps you reach down with your right hand and adjust your left foot a little closer to your body. Perhaps you say screw it and do neither. This is your practice. Do what feels best for you tonight. And coming back to your breath here. How does it feel when you really sink that breath down into the abs? I'm going to slowly roll back onto the sole of the left foot, coming back into the reclined 4 pose. From here, you're going to take that right leg and cross it over your left, just like you were sitting in a skirt or had to go to the bathroom or something. From here, You're going to continue to roll the legs over to the left, coming into twisted root pose. You should start to feel a pretty big opening through the lumbar and through the outer hip here. Listening to your body. Remember, you have blankets available. You can slip those blankets under your legs to lift the floor up if that would help. Breathe in here. Starting to deepen your breath. Rolling back, planting the left sole of the foot onto the ground. We're going to go ahead and uncross the legs. Take a moment here, windshield wiper the legs from side to side. We're going to come into that sequence on the opposite side. So coming back to center. Bringing the left ankle onto the right thigh. Flex the foot to protect the knee and energetically drive the knee away from the body. Take a moment here, anchor your sacrum, anchor your shoulder blades. Inhale the legs up, wrap the arms around the bottom thigh and hug the ankle just a little bit closer to the chest. Breathe in here. Exhale. Release the right foot back down to the ground. We're going to come into twisted four pose. So rolling over onto the right pinky edge of the foot, placing the sole of the left foot onto the ground. Maybe reaching down with the right hand and adjusting the left foot a little bit closer. Maybe reaching down with the left hand and adjusting the right foot a little bit closer. Maybe saying, screw it, I don't want to do either. Short practice. Breathe in here. Maybe start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice how all these similar shapes, how they require kind of the same breath, but they also require a deepening in the different positions that we find ourselves in. I'm going to roll up, planting the right sole of the foot back onto the ground. You can cross your left leg over the right and then twist down to the right. Breathe in here. Notice where that breath wants to go. Notice where that breath doesn't want to go. And coming back onto the sole of the right foot. We're going to uncross the legs and windshield wiper the knees a couple more times. Opening the arms out wide like a T. We're going to inhale the knees up to the chest and then exhale, twist. Drop those knees right about belly button height. Taking that front hand out a little weight to the top knee. Hanging out here for about a minute. Letting that low back relax. Inhale the knees back to center. Exhale, twist opposite side. Taking that front hand out a little weight to the top knee. Inhale the knees back to center. Make yourself into a small ball. And then rock up and down the mat 2 or 3 times, coming up into a seated position. So depending on what you are working with at your place, you're either going to grab a chair or a wall or a door, something. We're going to close with everybody's favorite, legs up the wall, legs up the chair. If there's any chance you are pregnant, if you have anything happening with like slip discs, anything like that, please first follow medical advice. But after that step, go ahead and grab a blanket and fold the blanket up so that it's about that thick and bring it right up to the chair or right up to the wall. And go ahead and bring your hips up onto the blanket. Now, if you're going to use a wall, you'll actually want your booty up on the wall before you flip your legs up. That will give your back the most support. If you're using a chair, just go ahead and get your body close to the chair. What we're going to do is come onto the back and bring the legs up. And hanging out here and legs up the wall or legs up the chair. Go ahead and walk those shoulder blades down the back. And slowly start to close the eyes and deepen the breath. If there's anything you can do to make yourself 10% more comfortable, please go ahead and do that now. And if legs up the wall is not comfortable for you, you would prefer to be in Savasana or any other restful yoga pose, please take that now. This is your practice. about 3 minutes left in this position. If there's anything you can do to make yourself just a little bit more comfortable, please do that. Even if that means coming out of the pose and choosing something else. Slowly deepen your breath and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bringing the arms up and over the head and sliding the feet down the wall. Rolling over onto one side and pausing here. You've been upside down for a little while now, so pause on the side. Bringing to mind one thing that you love about yourself. One thing that you're grateful for right now. And offering yourself just a moment of gratitude for taking time to practice. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, push yourself up to a seated position, bringing your hands to Anjali Heart Center. And so after I went on this little journey about learning to make and looking for a new perspective, and then knowing that it's what's in your heart and how much you've met yourself as much as you can meet somebody else, I found this last quote by Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it says, "Persons appear to us according to the light we throw upon them from our own minds." And it just kind of seems like no matter what road I take, it all comes back to we have to know ourselves, and it all starts within. And I am so very grateful that your work shows up on your mat with me. The light in me so very much honors the light in you. Namaste. If you find value in this offering, we do it every Wednesday night. If you're looking for some other yoga videos, join us on Patreon. We have an entire virtual yoga studio there. In the meantime, be kind to yourself, be kind to others.